Bearing witness. Bearing witness. Ron Chapman.
I've got a great idea for you. You need to be a coach for women in relationship.
That's my daughter, Natalie. She does that to me. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, here's what I said back. Natalie, that sounds like a really bad pickup line. But she persisted. You don't get it, do you? You're an excellent coach. You're a wonderful role model. You can really be safe. Women could learn a lot from you. I did what most parents do at a moment like that. Natalie, I'll think about it. Which of course means, no way, no how, not this guy, not it. We finished the conversation. About 3 weeks later, I got a call. Not from Natalie. From the director of a not-for-profit on the Eastern Seaboard that does recovery work with women with addictions problems, with women with all kinds of domestic violence issues. And they called to ask me if I would be the spiritual director for a weekend retreat for 125 women, the subject of which would be unconditional love, forgiveness, and healing. At which point Natalie would say, I told you. Here's the punchline though. In their 50 years, they had never before asked a male to be the weekend retreat coach. I was honored, I was humbled, I don't know who told them what, but it was a magnificent opportunity, and so I said absolutely yes. So there it was, a year later, after we wrapped it all up and got ready. We open it up, I tell them the Natalie story, and all these 125 women are laughing. They're thinking this is really funny, here I am, right? Then I asked them to stand to bear witness. And of course, they didn't know what I was asking. But I shared some information with them. I said, if this is a representative group, more than half of you have been perpetrated or violated in some way by people of my gender. More than half. And they got very, very quiet. And then I asked them to start looking at each other. Because I told them, you won't know the scars and the injuries, but you need to bear witness to each other. So look at each other. Breathe. Pay attention to each other. And that started us off on a magnificent course for the weekend. I'm happy to report it went so well, I will be returning for my 5th occasion in just 2 months. I'm very moved to say that that is possible for a guy like me. So I'd love to tell you all about what happened there. But that's not this story. This story is about a couple pieces of information you need to know. One comes from Dr. Irv Hines, a man who's a pain physician who's been working for more than 50 years trying to help people with their pain. And he says that in his experience, the most untreated human malady is heartache. Heartache. It's validated by the work of Stephen and Andrea Levine, who picked up the work that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did around death, dying, and grieving. They have discovered that the failure to deal with our unhealed sorrows hardens the heart and calluses the soul. Worse still, it burrows into our psyche and consumes our lives. And at worst, it goes out sideways or strange ways and devastates our communities and our families. The research is increasingly showing simply attending to the sorrows of others can make all the difference in the world. Now you're saying to yourself, what has this got to us? We know nothing about this. We're not healers. We're not people who do that kind of work. I'm going to challenge that proposition. I'd like you to raise your hands as I ask you a series of questions. And while I'm doing this, I'd actually like you all to look at each other, not at me. And I'm going to come down here to facilitate that. Who here, show of hands, knows someone who has an unhealed tragedy or trauma somewhere in their history? PTSD, keep your hands up. Okay. Keep your hands up. Who here knows someone who has suffered a grievous loss, a loved one, a companion animal, a career? Who here knows someone with a mental health challenge? Look at each other. Please. Look at each other. Breathe. We are they. If this is a representative sample, everyone we come in contact with, or almost everyone, is dealing with an unresolved trauma, a tragedy, something that is unhealed or unforgiven. Here's the cool part. The research is increasingly showing that we don't have to do anything. We just have to notice people. We have to stop ignoring them, stop minimizing their injuries, stop telling them, you're a tough little man, get over it. Oh, don't worry, you're not that fat. These are the stories of the culture. Who knew healing the earth and its people could be so simple? Who knew? But here's the problem. You're going to go across that threshold into a culture and you're going to do nothing different. Unless you think about how this applies to you. Will Heyman, his wife, Marilyn. Kelly Vandiver tells the story of the murder in her neighborhood that devastated their community. Over and over again, we hear this story. A bomb blast, a gun ordeal, and people saying, could I have done something? The answer is yes. We can. The question is, are you willing to take on the healing of the world? Mr. Toastmaster.